I'm Sean. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm also in recovery. And this meeting in particular has really helped me, uh, I guess, go to the next level. About 3 years ago, um, I'm in. I've been in AA for 24 hours, and I've always had a feeling periods through my life where I don't feel connected, and it was actually triggered or came about on a AA meeting. Chelsea's World End meeting out of London. And I called my sponsor at the time and I said, I'm just not feeling connected. And again, I've had this periodically throughout my life. Um, and he said, with love and kindness, okay, maybe go to more meetings and pray about it. And I just, it wasn't enough, you know, and things happen for a reason, I believe. And I had the big red book in my shelf. I was actually going to help somebody who actually started a meeting in Salisbury, Maryland to go through the steps, but I never read it. So for some reason, I pulled it down and I read those 14 traits and I said, oh my goodness, or oh my God, I could still experience 10 of those. And here I am a few 24 hours sober in AA doing what we do, in our recovery. And it was around that same time that I found this group. And I'm pretty sure throughout my time in AA, I read the letter by Bill Wilson. Because when I came into recovery, I just read a lot of stuff because I had to figure out why, in that particular time of my life, I chose to come into recovery. And as I read that letter, and especially the dependency part, I'm like, yeah. But there was a reason for these dependencies, I believe. And that's what I continue to work on. And one of the things for me, and I do believe it ties into emotional sobriety, is the work that I have done, started to do in ACA. It's just like when I came into AA and I read the big book, it was like, so that's what's wrong with me. I'm an alcoholic. The same thing when I came into ACA and emotional sobriety. As far as ACA is concerned, you know, I was living with what I thought I had treated the trauma of my childhood, not realizing that it was still in here, you know. And as far as emotional sobriety is concerned, if you read the first part of the letter by Bill Wilson, he talks about our adolescent, tendencies still after being sober, in recovery for X amount of years. And I certainly identify with that, you know. And that is what started my journey to emotional sobriety. You know, emotional sobriety to me is peace. And I've had peace in my life and through my recovery, but this is a different kind of peace. Bill Wilson talks about that childlike faith. And in ACA, they talk about the true self. And to me, they're the same, you know. And by doing this work, that's where I'm going back to. I actually have a picture on my phone of when I was a child. I lived in London from age 1 to age 6, and I'm holding this monkey. And when I look at that picture, there is only joy attached to that for me, not the stuff that we grow up in. You know, And I look at that picture occasionally when I smile, and I think we all can do that because we've all been through different traumas in our life, but yet we're here today from all over the world, thriving on some level, you know. I do, with in regards back to the letter, some days I'm more aware of my dependencies in my life because I think awareness, I need to be aware of me in order to work on something. Um, and some days I don't feel as dependent as others, you know. But it is for me, it's one day at a time because for a lot of years I depended on outside things to make me happy, to make me whole. You know, if I go back to my childhood, my first dependency, quite frankly, outside of myself, was sugar. We used to joke in the family that, my mom used to have to hide the cookies, when we went shopping. I'm 65, so back in the day, $25 got like 4 bags of groceries. And I was thinking the other day, yeah, she would hide them. And I think somebody that didn't have a problem with sugar would just look, oh, okay, I can't find them and move on. I stayed looking until I found those cookies. And then it'd be one, then it'd be two, then it'd be three. And that's part of my nature, you know. My nature is to obsess over things sometimes. I just don't obsess about alcohol and drugs and everything else. I could obsess about myself. Um, and the next major obsession was alcohol, you know. But looking back, I needed the alcohol to calm what was going on inside of here. I say this, I'm not blaming my parents. There was a time I think I did. Now I say they did the best they could, and I actually believe it in here. I used to say they did the best they could, but they still sucked at it. Excuse my French, you know, because I didn't grow up in an emotionally stable household. You know, one of the biggest things I've had to work on was if a couple of guys were in a room and just having a conversation, I heard it from the next room and happened to walk in, and that conversation just naturally stopped. As I walked in, I'd be like, okay, why'd they stop? What's going on? Is it me? And this is sort of how I grew up, is I had to scan the room to figure out the mood. What do we do next? You know, and maybe some of you can identify with that. And growing up in that, no, I'll speak for myself. No wonder I was drawn. I was drawn to alcohol. I needed some peace, you know, to calm the insides down. And obviously, it didn't work. I came into recovery to AA September 18th, 1996. And I have a really good life. I really do, you know. And I will always give, credit where credit's due. AA says, when the pupil's ready, the teacher will appear. And it looks like 3 years ago, I was ready for the next level, of my recovery. You know, I think Bill Wilson was decades ahead of his time. Just that letter, for what is in that letter, is just, to me, gold. It's just gold. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. I really am. To see all your faces, be able to say something that maybe helps somebody, and just to carry the message. Because in what I do for a living, emotional sobriety is really helpful for all of us. what I do for a living is work with people. And as I listen to them, and I could just, the dysfunction that comes out is just unbelievable. You know, the dependency on the next thing to bring me happiness, where happiness, and quite frankly, happiness right now is here in this moment. I'm with my family. You guys get me. Because that's all I ever wanted was to be, understood, be able to express myself. One of the if anybody reads The Missing Link in the Big Book, that's my story. I never felt like I fit in. Never felt like I fit in. And now I'm fitting in. I'm working on myself in the community, sharing stuff that I want to share. There was a period in my life I didn't want to share that because if I let you in, then you know the true me, and I can't do that. What I've learned is I wasn't taught how to do that. I was taught how to do that here. You know, I'm forever in debt to Patrick. Both Patricks, we spent time in England for the first emotional sobriety conference, and it felt like I was on a ship. That room could not have gotten any smaller. But we had some great discussions, and that's because of this. Trust. I trust this process. Sometimes I don't want to do the work, but I never not trust this process that Bill Wilson put out there for us. You know, and even he said it back in 1934 in the preface. And we think this program could work for anybody, and he's right. He's right. So I know we have a lot of people here. I hope some of this made sense. As usual, I go up here, which is not, over here in America, I should not go in this neighborhood alone by myself. Um, but then I hear my first sponsor, Dennis, says, Sean, as long as it's from the heart, it doesn't matter. And I believe today it's from the heart because I love this program. I love you guys because you are what has created me. What I'm saying, there's really nothing original here. Yeah, part of it's my story, but my recovery's little bits of this here, here, and here. So we're almost at the hour. We got some people that want to share and all that stuff. So I just want to end with this: is that Merry Christmas to you all, and thank you very, very much for being part of my recovery. Thanks a lot, Michelle.